Meeting called to order. Today is Tuesday, September 19th. It is now 6:05 PM. Town Council meeting, Town Council Chambers, 1170 Main Street. Instead of prayer tonight, I would like to take a moment of silence. West Warwick Police Department lost retired Detective Mark Amro after 33 years of service. He had a sudden illness later last week, and actually passed away sadly. So we'll be taking a moment of silence for Mark Amro. Thank you. Okay, we're using the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Council President Goslin.
Here.
Council Vice President Williamson.
Here.
Councilman Messier. Councilman Licciardi.
Here.
Councilman Bourget.
Here.
Participating communities: Town of Coventry, Town of Situate, City of Cranston, City of Warwick, Town of West Greenwich. There is a quorum on record. First item on the agenda is approval of resolution SC 2023-14, the minutes of the June 6, 2023 Sewer Commission meeting.
Move approval of the minutes.
Second.
Moving second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Next item is superintendent's report.
Good evening, council.
Good job.
Operations for August 2023. Our daily flow was 4.6 million gallons per day. Our max flow reached 12.48 million gallons per day, and our minimum flow was 12.5 million gallons per day. Our CBOD removal, we were at 99% removal, which equated to 2.1 milligrams per liter. For spent solids, we had 98% removal at 2.6 milligrams per liter. Phosphorus, we're below limit at 0.04 milligrams per liter. For sludge removal, we had 497 tons go to Synagro, and we had 108 tons going to the landfill for a total removal of 605 tons. For the collection system, the sewer backups, there were none in the public lines and none in the private lines. For odor complaints, we had 4, one on Duke Street, one on Enfield Street, one on Providence Street, and one at Overhill Drive at Providence Street. And for the month, there were no facility violations. That is my report.
Any questions for Jeff? Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Industrial pre-treatment report.
Good evening. For the month of August, the industrial pretreatment, the significant industrial users, Farmera at Washington Street in Coventry, submitted their self-monitoring report, and all their limits were in compliance. With regards to Amgen submitted a plan to replace their chemical feed pumps. That information was consistent with the requirements, and a plan was approved. For food services, during the month of August, there were 13 food services facilities that we investigated or checked out. A new permit was issued from Amarova Bakery on Main Street in West Warwick. The Summit Medical Compassion Center began operation this month. The Patron Industrial International Restaurant submitted their food services application. They're located at 943 Main Street in West Warwick. The facility was inspected, and the grease recovery device was not functioning. Therefore, a permit was not issued. Finally, Contessa did not have a grease recovery system, and this is the second time we've had a violation. So a notice of violation was issued along with a $500 administrative fine. Silver Crystal Restaurant has been closed. Walgreens at the center of New England submitted their grease cleaning records, and the facility was found to be in compliance. With regard to the private wastewater collection systems, there were 5 of them that were inspected this month. National Amusement, East Greenwich Square, Stop and Shop, Quaker Lane, and Garden Office Park. All of those submitted their maintenance reports and all were in compliance. This month, Scrubber Dub on New London Turnpike began construction for their new facilities. Plans were reviewed and approved for Fairway Car Wash on Cohasset Avenue. Plans were submitted for City Nails on Cohasset Avenue in West Warwick. The plans were in general compliance and a permit was issued. That's all I have.
Any questions for Jim?
Jim, I have one.
Sure.
Um, private pump stations. Are we all set with all that?
Yes,
That-
yeah, we've been,
With everything, right? We've,
we've permitted everybody. Permit fees have been issued and received. And we began the inspection. This time it was 5 of the, I think it's 20 or so.
22.
22.
that's right.
So we begin that inspection, look at our maintenance records, et cetera. So it's working well. And the revenue is offsetting, more than offsetting the cost for all these services.
Thank you.
For the record, Councilman Messier is here. Thank you, Jim.
Next item is the financial report. Year-to-date operating and debt expenses for fiscal year 2024 through the end of August totaled $1,065,758, which is 11% of the annual budget. Overtime for the month of August was $12,457, which is 9% of the annual budget. Our year-to-date overtime is $26,267, which is 18% of the annual budget. Year-to-date savings and salary line items is $11,214, which is helping to offset our overtime expenses. Sludge removal costs through the end of August totaled $130,212, which is 19% of the annual budget. Our annual CPI adjustment with Synagro, which is effective on July 1st of each contract year, was 2.8%, which is less than the 7% that we had budgeted during budget season. At the time, the inflation rate was between 6.5% and 7%. So we went on the high side. We were fortunate enough that inflation came down and we only saw a 2.8% increase as of July 1st. So our new rate is $104.02 per wet ton. Fiscal year 2024 sewer usage and industrial collections through the end of August totaled $2,747,313, which is 34% of the total billed. Our year-to-date fiscal year 2024 sewer assessment collections through the end of August totaled $156,124, which is 61% of the total bill. That higher amount is due to folks paying down their sewer assessment balance, either paying the assessment off in full or making extra payments to pay down the interest portion of it. In the month of August, we mailed 2,482 sewer usage delinquent notices totaling $839,104. We did not mail delinquent notices for assessments. Those went out a few weeks later than sewer usage and had a first quarter due date of August 15th with a grace period till August 31st. So we skipped the assessments for the first quarter delinquent notices. Cash and investments through the end of August totaled $3,347,910. That's my report, Council President.
Any questions for Tony? Thank you, Tony.
You're welcome. Next on the agenda is resolutions. First item is consideration of resolution SC 2023-15, exercise of option for contract extension, pretreatment services, and sewer system analysis.
Move approval of the extension.
Second. Moving second. Any discussion? Hearing
No,
none.
other than Jim probably has more collective knowledge than all of us sitting here together. He's a great asset and he was willing to actually maintain the same pretreatment amount. The fees for actual work went up a little bit, but in my mind, this is a no-brainer.
I've worked with Jim for going on 18 years and he's always been very professional and he's always been a pleasure to talk to and hope to resolve issues rather quickly. Any other comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Next is consideration of resolution SC 2023-16, change order number 1 to resolution SC 2022-09, furnishing and installation of primary clarifiers.
Move the resolution.
Second. Moving second, discussion? Jeff?
Sure. So we had our primary clarifier upgrade earlier this year. And what happened was our secondary clarifiers, one of them broke. So we had Hart Engineering come down, they had parts on hand and they were able to fix it within a day and get it back up and running. They noticed that the secondary clarifier was also having a similar issue and looks like it was going to collapse as well. So they said, we still have the parts. Next time you take that tank down, we're still here. We'll do the work for you. So basically the 2 days of work and materials was $5,030. So we told them to come do the work just to make sure that our structure was safe.
Jeff, are the clarifiers on the list of projected projects for capital?
I believe they were. Remember, Jim?
In the
I
past.
believe that they were, but now that they are complete now.
The primary was on the list. The secondaries, we still got about another 5 years, 5 to 6 years, because they were replaced in, I want to say 2015.
Okay.
Those were taken down, replaced when the phosphorus upgrade was done. So that's like 8 years. They still have about another 8 years to begin to plan going forward.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Next is consideration of resolution SC 2023-17, change order for Wright Pearson Engineering odor control study.
Move the resolution.
Second. Moving second, discussion?
Yeah, it was required by DEM.
DM requested it. The town engineer and I talked about it and agreed to it. We let the town manager know about it. So it's something that they wanted to do on top of our original study. They wanted to get a broader scope of, what was it, sulfides? I forget the name.
Yeah, basically what in the original proposal, they were going to do what we call analog or odor loggers, which is just a meter. And they would run around at 5 different locations at the treatment plant and the surrounding community. Because we've been talking about odors and the potential of the sulfides and the breakdown of sulfides, what we did is, based on talking with DM and with their recommendations, we put these samplers out in 3 different locations. One was at the front gate of the treatment plant. The other one was at Fernwood, I'm sorry, and Providence Street. And the other was at 909 Providence Street. These collected samples over a 24-hour period. And they were collected over a 5-day period. So 4-day period. So we collected each day, we grabbed the sample, they were sent to California for analysis. So we had really real-time, 24-hour sampling. The interesting part, and we'll get into the report next month after DM reviews it, but the interesting part was the only present odor was hydrogen sulfide. None of the mercaptans, none of the other sulfides were present within the odors. So that's interesting from a standpoint. It's easier to remove the hydrogen sulfide than the other mercaptan. So that's just a snapshot. We'll go over the whole report once DEM has a chance to review it.
Why did they want you to do one on top of this, of the original?
Well, because they wanted a more detailed analysis. They felt hydrogen sulfide was, rotten egg smell was not the only problem. They felt that, why they didn't tell us earlier in the program what to sample. But they saw the hydrogen sulfide and they said, can we do more? So we asked the engineer if they could. And these samples are sent to California on overnight mail so they can be analyzed. So
What does this required study cost, Jeff? I know it's out of your hands, just a ballpark.
No, I think the initial study was about 35,000. The additional sampling was 6,000. So I believe around 41,000.
Thanks.
Any other questions for Jeff? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Next is consideration of resolution SC 2023-18, amendment to primary clarifier project.
Move the resolution.
Second. Move second. Any discussion? Jeff?
Sure. So going back to our primary clarifier upgrade, with the overall rehaul, what happened was before the project started, we had a failure in one of the tanks. So basically needed a spur gear to be purchased. And what we decided to do, instead of having our vendor buy it, ship it to us, and then install it, they said if we wanted to, we just purchase it outright ourselves and save whatever the 15%, 20% markup cost was. So at that time, we determined it'd be best if we just purchased it ourselves to save a few bucks.
Any
And
questions?
still use opera funds for this.
Any questions for Jeff on this? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Public comment.
Any public comment on the sewer?
Villa 15 Granite Drive. I'm listening to the Otis stuff and the plant runs beautifully. I mean, I've grown up there. I know how bad it used to be. But this summer, it seems like there's a lot more in the way of odor, and I don't know why that is. I know we've had this study. It doesn't seem like overly bearing, but I don't know why it's happening.
That's why-
I mean, is there something broken down? I mean, because, I mean, a lot of people
A little while.
have
we had
mentioned it.
We had, what device was down? I remember sending the email to you.
The
Yeah,
scrubber
the
was.
scrubber was down for
Right.
a couple of weeks, so that ended up being a strong odor. I started getting complaints. I know I talked to Mary Beth about it. And I think Jeff.
I know they said they had like 4 complaints, but I mean, there are a lot of people, they're not gonna call, but they
Yeah, they
obviously,
don't call down there.
in
they might call
passing,
us.
yeah, or in passing, they'll say, hey, geez, did you smell that? And like I said, the plant usually runs flawlessly. You don't have any of that issue usually. This summer, we've seen a little bit more of it, and I just didn't know if there was a reason for it.
I think that's the reason that the odor study, they're requiring us to do it. The change in weather, amount of rain, and Josh, you might want to speak to that, but that makes a difference as well. There were a couple of occasions also this summer where, and I'm not going to get the terminology right, but basically we had trucks that weren't accepted at Synagro or the landfill, so they sat.
Okay.
And so they were loaded up, ready to go, and
Okay.
that's obviously not going to be a pleasant smell.
No.
So.
All right, thank you.
Any other public comment? Hearing none?
Council President, just one for me. I'm sorry. I should have mentioned it in the financial report. Just as an update to the council, the low-income water assistance program I had spoken to you a couple times about is ending on September 30th unless the governor extends it. West Bay Community Action is out of money for West Bay eligible households. Out of 900 households in West Warwick that were eligible, approximately 30 took advantage of it. So we did get some assistance. I just wanted to publicly thank West Bay. They did an extra outreach at our request. They made phone calls and they did a mailing at their expense to try to get more households to participate. So I just wanted to thank them for that.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. 2-minute recess. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.